Have you ever wondered where your money disappears every month? You work hard, you get paid, but somehow there's never enough left over. In this video, I'll show you how beginners can create a simple budget step by step, save more money, reduce stress, and finally take control of their finances. Money management is one of the most important life skills a person can learn, yet many people grow up without ever being taught how to handle money properly. Schools often teach mathematics, science, and history, but they rarely explain how to create a budget, avoid debt, or save for the future. As a result, many adults enter real life earning money without understanding where their money goes each month. They work hard, receive paychecks, and still feel financially stressed. This is why budgeting is so important. A budget is not simply a financial worksheet or a list of expenses. It is a plan that helps people take control of their money instead of letting money control them. When many beginners hear the word budget, they imagine something restrictive or stressful. Some people think budgeting means giving up everything enjoyable in life. Others believe budgeting is only necessary for people who are poor or struggling financially. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest misconceptions about personal finance. Budgeting is not about punishment. It is about awareness, balance, and freedom. Even wealthy people budget because successful financial management is not determined only by how much money someone earns. It depends on how wisely that money is used. A simple definition of budgeting is creating a plan for your income and expenses. Income is the money you earn from work, business, freelancing, or other sources. Expenses are the things you spend money on, such as rent, groceries, transportation, entertainment, and bills. A budget helps ensure that you spend less than you earn and save money for the future. It sounds simple, but many people fail to do this consistently. Imagine a beginner named David who earns $4,000 per month. At first, David feels financially comfortable because his income seems decent. However, at the end of every month, he notices he has almost nothing left in his bank account. He wonders where all his money went. When he finally decides to track his spending, he discovers he spends hundreds of dollars each month on food delivery, coffee shops, streaming subscriptions, and impulse shopping online. Individually, these purchases did not seem expensive, but together they consumed a large portion of his income. This is a very common real-life situation. Many people are not poor because they earn too little. Sometimes they struggle because they spend without awareness. One of the biggest benefits of budgeting is financial awareness. Budgeting forces people to face reality honestly. It shows exactly how much money is coming in and where it is going. In my opinion, awareness alone can change financial behavior dramatically. Once people clearly see their spending habits, they naturally begin making smarter decisions. For example, imagine someone buying coffee every morning before work for $7. $7 may not sound significant. However, over 30 days, that becomes more than $200. Over 1 year, it can exceed $2,000. This does not mean people should never buy coffee outside. The point is understanding how small habits affect long-term finances. Budgeting helps people make conscious choices instead of automatic spending decisions. Another important benefit of budgeting is reducing stress. Financial stress affects millions of people around the world. Many individuals live paycheck to paycheck, constantly worried about rent, bills, or unexpected emergencies. Imagine a family whose car suddenly breaks down. Without savings, a repair bill of $1,000 can become a disaster. The family may need to borrow money or use high-interest credit cards, creating even more financial pressure. A budget helps prevent these situations by encouraging savings and preparation. In my opinion, one of the greatest feelings in life is financial peace of mind. It does not necessarily mean being rich. It means knowing your bills are covered, your spending is under control, and you're prepared for emergencies. The family may need to borrow money or use high-interest credit cards, creating even more financial pressure. A budget helps prevent these situations by encouraging savings and preparation. In my opinion, one of the greatest feelings in life is financial peace of mind. It does not necessarily mean being rich. It means knowing your bills are covered, your spending is under control, and you're prepared for emergencies. Budgeting creates that feeling of stability. The first step in budgeting is understanding your income. Beginners should focus on net income, which is the amount received after taxes and deductions. For example, if someone earns $5,000 before taxes but receives only $4,000 in their bank account, the budget should be based on $4,000. One beginner mistake is budgeting based on gross income instead of actual take-home pay. This creates unrealistic expectations and often leads to overspending. After calculating income, the next step is tracking expenses. Expenses are generally divided into two categories: fixed expenses and variable expenses. Fixed expenses stay relatively the same every month, such as rent, insurance, or car payments. Variable expenses change monthly and may include groceries, gas, entertainment, and shopping. One beginner mistake is underestimating variable expenses. For example, someone may think they spend $300 monthly on food, but after tracking receipts honestly, they realize the real amount is closer to $600 because of restaurant meals and snacks. This is why tracking every expense for at least 1 month is extremely helpful. A simple story illustrates this well. Sarah, a college student, believed she had a low-spending lifestyle. She rarely bought expensive items and considered herself financially responsible. However, when she reviewed her bank statements carefully, she discovered she spent nearly $400 monthly on small convenience purchases such as snacks, rideshare apps, late-night food orders, and online subscriptions. She was shocked because none of those purchases felt significant individually. After creating a budget, Sarah reduced unnecessary spending and started saving money for emergencies. Within 6 months, she had her first savings account with over $1,000. This example shows that budgeting is not always about making huge sacrifices. Often, small adjustments create meaningful results. One of the most popular budgeting methods for beginners is the 50-30-20 rule. According to this system, 50% of income goes toward needs, 30% toward wants, and 20% toward savings or debt repayment. This method is popular because it is simple and flexible. Imagine someone earning $4,000 monthly. Under this system, approximately $2,000 would go toward essential expenses like rent and food. Around $1,200 could be used for entertainment, hobbies, dining out, or shopping. The remaining $800 would go toward savings or paying debt. In my opinion, the 50-30-20 method is useful because it allows balance. Many beginners fail at budgeting because they try to eliminate all enjoyment from life immediately. Extreme budgeting often becomes emotionally exhausting. A realistic budget should still allow room for entertainment and personal happiness. Another major part of budgeting is saving money. Saving is important because life is unpredictable. Emergencies can happen to anyone regardless of income level. Job loss, medical bills, car repairs, or unexpected travel expenses can create financial hardship very quickly. A common beginner mistake is believing they need a large amount of money before they can start saving. This mindset prevents many people from building good habits. In reality, consistency matters more than amount. Saving $20 every week may not seem impressive, but over time it builds discipline and financial security. Consider a real-life example. Michael worked a normal office job and constantly told himself he would start saving once he earned more money. Years passed, but his lifestyle expenses increased every time his income increased. Eventually, an unexpected medical emergency forced him to borrow money and use credit cards because he had no emergency savings. This situation taught him an important lesson. Financial preparation should begin immediately, not someday in the future. Debt is another important topic for budgeting beginners. Credit cards can be useful tools when managed responsibly, but they can also become dangerous when used carelessly. Many beginners make the mistake of treating credit cards like free money. They buy expensive items impulsively without considering how interest charges accumulate over time. Imagine purchasing a $1,000 television using a credit card and making only minimum monthly payments. Due to high interest rates, that television may eventually cost much more than the original price. This is how many people become trapped in long-term debt. In my opinion, one of the smartest budgeting habits is learning delayed gratification. Modern society encourages instant satisfaction. Advertisements constantly promote the idea that happiness comes from buying more products. Social media also creates pressure to appear successful through expensive lifestyles. However, budgeting teaches patience and discipline. Waiting before making purchases often helps people avoid unnecessary spending. For example, many financial experts recommend using the 24-hour rule. If you want to buy something non-essential, wait 24 hours before purchasing it. In many cases, the emotional excitement fades and the item no longer feels necessary. Another beginner mistake is failing to review subscriptions. Many people forget they are paying monthly fees for streaming services, apps, gym memberships, or online tools they rarely use. These automatic payments quietly reduce savings over time. Reviewing subscriptions regularly is a simple but effective budgeting habit. Budgeting is also important for couples and families. Financial disagreements are one of the most common sources of stress in relationships. Imagine one partner spending freely while the other tries to save aggressively. Without communication and planning, conflict becomes almost unavoidable. A shared family budget improves teamwork and transparency. It allows couples to discuss goals openly, whether saving for a home, paying debt, planning vacations, or preparing for children's education. In my opinion, budgeting together strengthens trust because both people understand the family's financial situation clearly. One important lesson beginners should understand is that budgeting is not about perfection. Many people quit budgeting after making mistakes during the first few months. They overspend 1 week and decide budgeting does not work. However, budgeting is like learning any new skill. Mistakes are a part of the process. Imagine someone starting a fitness routine. Missing one workout does not mean the entire health journey has failed. The same principle applies to budgeting. One bad spending decision should not destroy long-term progress. Consistency matters more than perfection. Technology has made budgeting easier than ever before. Many mobile apps automatically track spending, categorize expenses, and show financial reports visually. Some people prefer spreadsheets, while others use notebooks or cash envelopes. There is no single perfect budgeting method. The best system is the one a person can maintain consistently. Another important concept is distinguishing between needs and wants. This sounds simple, but it can become emotionally difficult in practice. A need is something essential for survival and stability, such as food, housing, utilities, or healthcare. A want is something enjoyable, but not necessary. For example, owning a phone may be a need for communication and work. However, upgrading to the newest expensive phone every year may be a want rather than a necessity. Budgeting helps people think carefully before making financial decisions. Lifestyle inflation is another common financial problem. This occurs when people increase spending every time their income increases. Imagine receiving a raise at work and immediately upgrading apartments, buying a more expensive car, and increasing shopping habits. Despite earning more money, savings never improve because expenses grow equally fast. In my opinion, avoiding lifestyle inflation is one of the keys to long-term financial success. Some of the wealthiest people are not necessarily those with the highest incomes, but those who control spending wisely. Budgeting also creates opportunities for future goals. Some people dream of traveling, buying a house, starting a business, or retiring early. These goals rarely happen accidentally. They usually require planning, discipline, and consistent saving. A budget transforms vague dreams into achievable financial goals. Consider a young couple who wanted to buy their first home. Initially, they felt discouraged because housing prices seemed impossible. However, after creating a strict budget, reducing unnecessary spending, and saving consistently for several years, they eventually accumulated enough money for a down payment. Their success was not based on luck. It was based on financial planning and discipline. Another important point is that budgeting looks different for everyone. A college student, single parent, retiree, and business owner will all have different financial priorities. Beginners should avoid comparing themselves constantly to others. Social media often creates unrealistic expectations about lifestyle and spending. Budgeting should focus on personal goals and financial stability rather than competition. Financial education is also extremely valuable. The more people learn about money, the better financial decisions they can make. Reading books, watching educational videos, listening to podcasts, and learning from experienced financial experts can improve financial understanding significantly. In conclusion, budgeting is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. It provides awareness, reduces stress, encourages saving, helps manage debt, and supports long-term goals. Budgeting is not about eliminating enjoyment from life or becoming obsessed with money. It is about creating balance, responsibility, and financial peace of mind. For beginners, the process may feel overwhelming at first, but simple, consistent habits can create powerful long-term results. Tracking expenses, saving regularly, avoiding unnecessary debt, and spending intentionally are small actions that gradually build financial stability. In my opinion, budgeting is not just about numbers. It is about freedom. It allows people to live with less stress, greater confidence, and more control over their future. Financial success does not belong only to wealthy people. It belongs to those who develop discipline, awareness, and smart financial habits over time. By learning budgeting early and practicing it consistently, anyone can create a stronger and more secure financial future. If this video helped you understand budgeting better, subscribe to Budget and Build for more beginner-friendly finance tutorials.